Hello, you little gems. Well, today I'm talking about beliefs and how beliefs can be good and how beliefs can be bad. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. I had this beautiful conversation with the Jesus Energy the other day. And it's funny, because when I go, and I know I've said this before, when I go to talk to them, I was thinking, goodness, what on earth are they going to say? Have we said everything? What else? What's left to say? And I asked them the question I was thinking about the people that believe only in the Bible. And then the people who believe in things outside of the Bible, but spiritual people, Bible-oriented or beyond that. And I said, is there a difference? Is one good, one bad? What? And they said, they're both identical in as much as the beliefs that people hold, whether it be fundamentalist beliefs in the Bible or whether it be beyond, those beliefs can be used for love, goodness, peace. Or those beliefs can be used for hate, for damage, for violence, for horror. And we see that, don't we? Some people can have beliefs. Some people can believe the Bible and be beautiful people. And what they've done is they've taken the best bits and they've applied them in their life. And it's beautiful. I find it quite heartwarming to be with very devout Christians who truly believe in that new commandment that Jesus gave, which was to love your brother and your sister as you would want them to love you. When you meet people who believe that and who have installed that in their life, it's like a breath of fresh air. And I don't mind if they've got very rigid beliefs about the Bible or whatever, as long as they live in that way. And so the Bible can be, if it's used correctly, can be a beautiful tool that helps people to truly live their life in a godly way. And yet, we've seen that if you pull the bad bits out of the Bible, like the Jehovah's Witnesses have done, or many religions, and I'm not just talking about the Bible, I'm talking about all of the other books. If you pull the bad bits out, of course you can use it for terror and horror and war and violence. Well, it's the same with the beliefs outside, as the Jesus Energy said to me. Whatever you believe, if you believe the good, if you believe in doing good, well, of course, it's going to lead only to good. And yet, if your beliefs are not based on good foundations, then they can lead to horrible things. And even within our group, within our movement, we've seen people abusing the system, abusing the trust of others to do horrible things, like line their pockets, things of that nature. The Jesus Energy said that the most important thing to remember, and we referred to this earlier in another video, is that your beliefs are only your beliefs. They are extremely personal. Why? Because of all of the reasons that we've talked about before, because of the way that we take in information, because of the filters, the way we distort, we delete information. We just do an awful lot of things to 80% of what comes in to make it our own and to make it fit into the puzzle that we have within us. And so as long as we know that, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how we're built. But as long as we know that, then we know that our beliefs shouldn't be used as a weapon, because they're only personal, they're only for us. And you do a survey and ask 100 people about their beliefs and you'll have 100 different beliefs. Sometimes they'll share stuff, but generally people's beliefs are very, very individual to them. And that's what the Jesus Energy was saying. Remember that your beliefs are individual. They have nothing to do with the truth. They have nothing to do with reality. They have nothing to do with anything except you. Okay? So that's a very, very strong premise that they give me. And they said, your beliefs apply to nobody else except you. That's it. Nobody else except you. Okay? And because of that, what they said was this. never adopt the beliefs of somebody else. That's what they said. Never adopt the beliefs of somebody else without having done the work. And it makes me think of Pastor Kevin. He said that he studied the Bible. His beliefs are based on a tremendous amount of study. And that's wonderful. And that's what the Jesus Energy was saying. Am I saying that his beliefs are right? No, I don't know. But they're his beliefs. They're right for him. Just as my beliefs are right for me, and just as your beliefs are right for you at the moment. But remember, the beliefs are always in flux. They're always changing. What the energy said was that if we take on beliefs that have been founded by somebody else, then all that happens is that belief becomes propaganda. It becomes a dogma. Right? Now, dogma is believing something through faith, okay, with no real evidence. And it makes me think of the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses, although they truly believe what they do most times, even though they can't match up to the beliefs, they can't stick to the rules, they're all hypocrites, just like all of us. They believe it, but their beliefs have been given to them through this repetition and programming. They really, the beliefs don't stand investigation. If you start looking into the beliefs, they fall apart. But the Jehovah's Witnesses are taught not to look into the beliefs, just like we have been having this propaganda saying, trust the science. Are you a scientist? How many times have you heard this? Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? How can you talk about these things? So it's like, don't even investigate, because you're not good enough to investigate. You don't know. We know a lot better. Well, what happens? That's dogma. And we find dogma in politics. We find dogma in medicine. We find dogma in religion. We find dogma everywhere. We find dogma in society of don't question, do. All right? And that's what the Jesus Energy was saying, was that never take on a belief until you have done the work and the investigation and the digging and the analysis enough, so much that you can accept that belief or that you'll reject that belief. And it's only when you've done the work that you can truly say, this is my belief. But they said, even then, understand that it's only your belief and it only applies to you. And then they give me this beautiful metaphor out of nowhere, and it was so the way that they showed me was so beautiful that it kind of, I was nearly brought to tears. It was just so lovely. And what they said was this: our beliefs, right, and these are so important, our beliefs are like a lion. And they said, if your beliefs are not controlled, if you don't control them, then what happens is that lion's running free and it will attack other people, right? It will do damage. It will attack people like a roaring lion, okay? And so they said, until such time as you have this under control, you need to keep your beliefs like a lion. You need to keep them in a cage. You need to keep them locked up until you've done the work, until you've tamed them. That's what they said. And it's only when you have your beliefs tamed. And what does that mean? Taming your beliefs is where you reach a point where you know that these are just your beliefs, that they have no basis in the truth, that it's only what you have adopted. Once your beliefs tamed, they said that your lion can stand by your side. And that's when it does its best work, because it doesn't attack people, it protects you. And that's what your beliefs are. They're like this big lion that gives you the strength to say no and yes. And that's how we have to train our beliefs. Our beliefs are not there to attack other people. Our beliefs are there to protect us, to keep us safe, to keep us mentally safe and sound. Because when we allow beliefs to start to contradict one another, then we get that cognitive dissonance, and it creates mental instability. It makes people lunatics. You just need to look at the world. There's so much cognitive dissonance in the world. People are loony. They don't know anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore. They're not able to even argue a point because they have no basis. They have nothing behind that belief. It's a dogma. And when you attack somebody who's got dogma, when I mean attack, is when you propose an opposing belief. It's not an attack. When you propose opposing beliefs to somebody who has dogma, you will see that they will get angry. Their lion will start raging. Why? Because it's untamed. It has no basis in anything except, no, this is what I believe, and that's it. And I used to hear that all the time in the witnesses. The witnesses, if they were questioned, they would bring out the 4 or 5 scriptures, like, cherry picking out of the Bible. Well, look, it says this, and therefore that means it's true. But they never look beyond that scripture. They never look to other scriptures that might contradict it, or they might say something else. It's like when you talk to people who believe the whole of that plan stroke demic, and you give them some information, they get angry. And what do? They'll either say, where's your source? Okay, I'd like to cover them in source. That's what I'd like to do. Where's your source? Or, you'll believe anything on the internet, and they'll believe anything on the television. Yeah. But it only works. The only thing that they're able to do is to attack you, to criticize you, to condemn you, to try and bring you down, rather than listening and considering. They can't do it. Why? Because it's a dogma, and dogmas don't have any basis in foundations. They're not. They're just accepted beliefs. This is what we want you to believe, and they go, okay, I'll believe that then, with no basis in anything. And then if you question it, they've got no other alternative. It's always a good sign, when somebody reacts in an extreme way, like a child, you know that they have nothing behind what they're saying. There's no truth or whatever to it. Or if there's another technique that they use, which is deflection. Okay? So you present them with something, right? They have nothing to back that up with. And so what they would do instead is deflect, and they'll mention something else. And so you have this conversation that this never gets anywhere. And you keep giving them information, and they keep deflecting. And often then they'll criticize you, or they'll say, well, what about this? You say that, but this. And that's not a conversation. That's not an argument. It's just a game of tennis where nobody's the winner. And they come away saying, well, I won that debate because they didn't get to me. And you walk away thinking, well, that was a waste of time. And most times it is. So when somebody's deflecting, when somebody's attacking you, when somebody's saying awful things which have nothing to do with what you're saying, or talking about becoming personal when you're not being personal. You're talking about, I remember when we were looking at the stats of how many people generally, unlife themselves. No, it's not unlife. No, it's not that. Not the sewerage pipe thing. I'm trying to not use the word D-E-A-T-H. Okay? The people that move on, shuffle off this mortal coil because of the flu. Okay? And if you look at through the years, you've got like 2017, 2018, 2019, and here in Spain, I think it was around about something like, I don't know, 30,000 people every year. And then in 2020, 0. I think it was 2. 2 people lost their breathing capacity when they had the flu. Where did it go? And then you look at the stats for the COVID, and it's about 30,000. There's a little peak where they did things to make people shuffle off this coil a little bit faster, with a certain type of treatment that they give them. But more or less, it's the same. The only increase that we've seen is beyond that, and we know why. So I remember when I used to show people that information, and it was like talking to somebody in hypnosis. The eyes would glaze over and they'd go, but no, because I saw the television, and I know that many, many, many more people kicked the bucket during that time. That's it. So all they could refer to, talk about where's your source. My source was the official government figures. Their source was the television, and yet they wouldn't believe me. And so many times I had quoted government sources, and it's still now everyone's quoting government sources, and people going no, because are you saying, and this is a beautiful one, are you saying that nobody died? Right? It's like the question, are you saying nobody breathed during 2020? No, I'm not saying that. There was definitely breaths being taken, but what we're saying is the information that you were given wasn't right. It was piggybacked, and yet they can't see it. Why can't they see it? Because it's a dogma, and they don't need to see anything. They just need to believe it. It's like a little medal that they wear. I've got the dogma, I believe it, and don't you try and take this medal off me. Sad state of affairs. So where is your lion? Is your lion roaring around? If it is, I would suggest that you get it tamed. Put it in the cage. If your lion's in the cage, sometimes mine's in the cage, just stay there for the moment. I'm just going to listen. I'm not going to be getting mine out. And sometimes it's by my side, saying, yes, no. And there's something very beautiful, and that's why I like this metaphor. There's something very beautiful about having the conviction of your beliefs, the faith in your beliefs, that that you've done the work. You haven't adopted this lion from another lion tamer. This is your lion. You've fed it, you've watered it, you've stimulated it. You've given it the strength that it has. That's where we need to be. But that doesn't mean that there are not going to be other people dashing about with lions biting everybody. Loads. Just not your lion. As the saying goes, don't leave your beliefs lying about. Okay, I love you all, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.